Hey everybody, Steve here, and welcome to the end of June, end of the first half of 2024 investor update. As you can see, I am on the road, so not all dressed up in home office today, but I did want to get this out pretty quickly because it does affect the share price, which I know is on your guys' mind, maybe not on a daily basis, but on occasion at least. So standard presentation here with the standard disclosure. And again, if you don't realize now, I did a change during the second quarter where if you read the top of this, there's the company and then there's the building. You as investors in Ankerstar Wealth own equal shares of both. So I basically replicated for those who were the original shareholders that just invest in Ankerstar Wealth, you also receive additional shares of the building, if you will, which is going to come out hopefully in October of this year, potential for September. We'll see, right? But standard disclosure applies. This is all based on my projections as the managing member of both the company and the building. All the projections, which I do the best to communicate with you in here, the formula that I use to determine share price and the potential outcomes and the likelihood of those outcomes, that sort of thing. But ultimately, if you have questions, just come back and ask me, and I will clarify that for everybody. All right. Excuse me. Share price update. End of June is now 105.85. So if you look on the right-hand side, you can see the past 6 months, we were up at 108 for a while. Took a hit in April. We're down at 1.1%. That's when I did the new share offering of 10,000 shares. About a third of those are gone, between a quarter and a third of those sold during that period. And during that time, the share price was 104.59. That period is now closed as of the publishing of this video, and the new share price is 105.85. And going forward, the share price is going to be updated every month, right? And there's some months we'll obviously do great. Some months we won't make our growth. Like with this month, we had 1.9, so we didn't make our 2.5. So therefore, the stock price gets in a little bit. And then some months are negative. But that's how the share price is determined with that formula up there, and I've gone over that in detail in the past. You can look off to the left. That's the last 18 months. We've grown from 54 million up to 86 million. We are at new highs at that 86.25 million, if you will. And again, hoping to, in the next 2 months, get over the 90 million stretch so we can register with the SEC coming up in September. I would prefer to have the registration with the SEC done before we get into the building, just to kind of spread out the headaches or handle the headaches sequentially, if you will. So exciting stuff. We just want to make sure we consume it and knock it out correctly. So over on the left, 216 clients picked up one this past month, have several in the queue. So I'm excited for next month, but haven't, they have to sign and come on board, right? So shares remaining, if you're interested in buying more shares, again, employees can add to their positions at any point in time. And existing shareholders can add positions at any point in time of any amount. If you are a new shareholder, that you have to come in for 500 shares, which is 50, what's 105? 52,500 or so. If you want to become part of the membership team. So shares are available at the monthly share price. So again, we're not, that 104.59 is now off the table. That was the intro price for this round of shares. Now it's just tied to whatever the shares are. And really, as I anticipate going forward, I think, share increases will trickle in. People will see the value and they'll come on board for a little bit more. But I think the big run on the shares, where I anticipate to have all of these sold, is really once we're in the building. Once you guys see this facility and the plan for it, I think you're going to see the upside value that we're sitting on as shareholders, and consider increasing your position. But you have to do what's right for you and your family. Also, we are almost 2 years out from the quarterly distribution starting. Down here, it says August 31st of 2026. So excited about that. And then as a shareholder, that's when you start to get that return of capital, right? So you invest money, you start getting a little bit back. And then, of course, the hoping the share price goes up over time, baked into the 2.5% growth until 2029. And then you get all of the growth. So there's a depiction of the real Ankerstar Wealth growth since inception, since I started tracking it, of May 1st of 2015. And you can see the nature of this business model is parabolic. It really is, with some hiccups along the way. All right, so what's the growth strategy? I was asked by this, some other, how are we going to utilize the building? to gain clients and ultimately AUM. We can see the team off to the right. Obviously, people first, they make all the difference. We added Corey Hinkle. He's not pictured yet. We'll have that up for the next briefing. But right now, we're sitting with 6 advisors and 4 additional operations / support personnel. So we are positioned for growth, if you will. So they say you're either staffed for profitability or staffed for growth. We're staffed for growth. So part of the money that you're coming in is to help pay people while we're in this surge phase. If you look off to the left, we're basically targeting initially the 4 cities right around the building. We're almost right at the 4 corners of those. It's right. The building is technically between Round Rock and Cedar Park, but we have a Leander address. So it's all right there. All within 20 miles and 30 minutes. That's who we're going to use digital marketing to reach out to folks. We're going to use old school mailers. I'm going to do twice a day events once I get into teaching mode to get in front of the crowd and talk about Social Security claiming strategies, the election and your portfolio, Bitcoin, any of that stuff. I want to bring in experts from, we'll have a new graphic out in the investment advisory board in a few days. It kind of shows all of our relationships. Bring those folks in. They have budgets to come out and educate you directly. Industry nights, I want to do that. Industry nights, meaning other financial aid professionals, so no clients there, but really start to build a relationship with CPAs, lawyers, as well as real estate agents, mortgage brokers, all of the folks in the financial industry. And then, there's a couple other things to be excited about. Ultimately, 2025 is a transition to what I call the multifamily office light. We're not ready for that, so we need to get through the major chunks first so we can then put out a offering for a multifamily office light. And then the last part, the building itself is going to make some money. I'm able to rent out outer offices. I'm able to rent out the executive lounge if somebody wants to host a happy hour or executive offsite retreat for their folks. And then I do have some common workspace area. I have clients that have businesses that need workspace. So really think of just taking care of clients first of all. And some of those are part owners. So come on in and using their facility for their own business. You can see the green star in the upper left is where we're located. That in the bluish line, if you will, outlines those 4 cities that I'm talking about. There is enough money in here to run all the way to $1 billion of assets under management. Do you have a depiction at the bottom? There will be more to follow. And then, of course, the upper right is kind of our big deal. And that's the address, the Leander address there. All right. How do you make money? Just kind of refresher. If you've been a shareholder for a while, you may not know. First of all, share appreciation. Again, we need to continue to grow in accordance with our metrics for those to grow up. But then once we get to 2029, you own all of the upside. For distributions, again, that's going to start out in 2026. Don't expect them to be big, but you are going to start getting your money back, if you will, which is always good. And then the more profitable we get, the bigger your dividend. Eventually, we'll either be sell or be acquired, or we won't sell. Either way, the value of your shares are going to continue to appreciate. And the building is separate, so it does act independently from your shares. So whenever the building sells, that portion of your investment will close out and you will receive your share of the building. Investment risks, if I do pass away, nobody likes to talk about that. Mike is fully prepared. He's got 6 months in the chair as a CIO. He can take over as CEO. I've already told him everything he needs to know. Again, if you remember from the get-go, to protect your investment, I put a $2 million policy in place. So again, $2 million of funds come into the company. A little bit of piece goes to the family there for Irene and the crew. And then that takes me out of the 51% shareholder thing. Mike gets all of the transition shares that are allocated, but not that have not been used yet. So when I say there's, I'm offering new shares, that really just means not new shares, right? It's just shares I have that are for sale for the first time. Right. I already told you up front, we won't have any dilution. There won't be new shares, if you will. Risk number 2, we don't grow. Well, say we grow over time at 2%. Your share price will drop until 2029, barely, but it'll still drop. And then you get all of the growth from there. So it'll quickly catch up, even if I can't meet my 2.5 per month projections. In states, we talked about IPO acquisition. If we stay private past 2029, which I kind of intend to, we'll do it. I'll stop calculating the share price because now we're at the share price, right? So now we'll just pay for a formal valuation every other year, and that will set the price for your share. So independent third party comes in, we'll pay them, $25,000 or whatever to evaluate, and that will set the share price. You can always sell your shares to other owners or sell them back to the company in time if you want. All right. Why invest? You need to have conviction in two things: strength of the business model and the industry. I've tried to show you over time, this is a parabolic industry. If you have any capable leadership whatsoever, and you can't really get in on these types of investments. You just can't. They're too good. Conviction in the founder, that's me. The vision and the combined strategic plans. When you hear this stuff, if you're like, heck yeah, energy, then invest. If you're like eye rolling, like there's no way Steve can make this happen, please don't invest. Sell your shares back to the company and go find something else to have conviction in. And then you need 5 beliefs: belief in the current and future team. I'll keep putting up new faces as we hire. And as you interface with them, hopefully you're impressed with them as much as I am. Otherwise, I wouldn't have hired them. Belief in the business plan, belief in the AFOB to monetize itself, belief in our ability to generate profits over time by keeping our spending in check. Belief in leadership ability to navigate the IPO or exit to maximize value. Again, I don't know what I need to know right now, and it's not a player, but I will later on. And lastly, math. This whole equation is based on a six times multiple earning. Last year, they were going for 20 to 30. I'm not re-upping. I'm not changing my valuation. And I think that's too high. It won't always be 20 and 30. I think it'll settle back down to probably a 9 to 10 multiple. But it's certainly higher than I have now. So, but, I started with the 6 multiple, so we're just keeping that for the math. And quite simply, why not wait? Oh, they're not going to be there. Once we sell all the shares, then they're gone. And there won't be more, and you can't get in. How big did it grow? You can pause here if you want, but this assumes 2029. I make my $10 million valuation, which we are on path to make. And as long as your shares are above $100 a piece, we are on path to make that $10 million valuation in August of 2029. After that, I modeled out 2 things for you. If I miss, I didn't even model out success. I modeled out if I miss. If we don't make 30% a year, we make 24%. So that's 2% a month. And by 2041, the company's worth 160 million. If I super miss and only make 18%, again, rule of 72, 18 times 4, money doubles every 4 years now instead of 3, then it's up to 160 million in 2045. So it's going. MOIC stands for multiple invested capital. So if you put, say, 100,000 in and you're at 16 multiple of invested capital, that's 100,000, that's 1.6 million. So, I mean, it's there. The math is there. So follow the math. And then M&A, that doesn't even mean if I tuck somebody in. If I tuck in another 50 or 60 million off the street, I may have to pay him in some equity, which I have on hand to be able to do so, him or her. But yeah, if I tuck somebody in, that's an immediate growth. We're just talking organic growth here. So lots of good things. I'll just leave you with this. There's, it is about being part of something special. I think that's what we have on our hands. And when you see the building, I think that will confirm how special it is. And we'll have some of the folks around there on a regular basis. So you actually meet these mythical people that you may not actually talk to. And you'll be nothing but impressed, just like I was when I brought them along the team. So that's what I have for you. Hope you guys enjoyed the first half of 2024. Again, the market's up 14%. Many of our portfolios are, especially the aggressive ones, are well higher than that. And couldn't be happier with how we are positioned halfway through the year. With that, we'll talk to you soon.